Do you remember the early Middle Ages, late Middle Ages, and Industrial Age bonus quest lines? What if I told you that there's a fourth that was never released? I'm Nerd14, and I am excited to introduce you to the Progressive Era bonus quest line. Sort of. Before we truly get into it though, you should know that this will be a more technical video, but I'll be doing my best to make sure you can understand what's going on and where I got the information I'll be writing this video based on. Also, I want to give a disclaimer that I am not a programmer, I am not that knowledgeable about the back end of the game, and I am only sharing what I found by basically messing around. And with that out of the way, the bonus quest lines have been known for being short, extra quest lines, and campaign map provinces that can give some extra rewards. Also, at least one of the bonus provinces would usually give diamonds, and in the Industrial Age, we got an expansion from a bonus province. Sadly, there are only 3 of these bonus areas of the game, being the Early Middle Ages, Late Middle Ages, and Industrial Age bonus quest lines, the last of which was released in May of 2013 as part of the game's 1-year anniversary in Update 1.02. The extra provinces that bonus questlines give us have always been fun ways to get extra rewards, so understandably many players have been looking for more that will be introduced to the game in the near decade since. To try and find more provinces, the easiest way is to look for anywhere that bonus provinces could be added. This means looking at the background of the campaign maps. The graphics are separated into 3 different files, including the background of the map, the province overlays, and the clouds that cover up undiscovered areas. When we look at, say, the Bronze to Colonial Age map, we see that there's an area of outlying provinces that was never used and is always covered by clouds. However, there is no mention of these provinces anywhere in the game, and there are no province graphics for them that would let you click them. The same is true of every other map where there are extra provinces covered by clouds, including the modern era through the future. However, one other age has extra provinces covered by clouds: the Progressive Era map. Here's the map as it is usually shown, and here's my version of it with the clouds removed. As you can see, there are an extra 10 provinces that are now visible. But what's the big deal? Other maps still have the same thing. However, in the case of the Progressive Era map, we have the images for the province overlays. Do you remember how I mentioned that the continent map artwork is split into 3 images, including the background provinces and clouds? Well, for every single age where extra provinces shown on the background are covered by clouds, the province overlays don't actually exist. They're missing and aren't referenced in any other files. It's safe to assume that these provinces were added in planning but were never used, and it was easier to just keep them covered by clouds than to actually develop additional content. But with the Progressive Era, the overlays exist, fit perfectly on the map, and are referenced in the files. What files are we talking about? Well, here we go into the technical explanation I mentioned earlier. If you want to see the files I'll be discussing yourself, you have to be on the browser version of the game. When loading the game, press F12. This will open the developer tools on most browsers. We'll be ignoring most of the information that we see here, but you want to navigate to the Network tab. This tab shows all the files that the game server is sending to you, including all images and a file type known as JSON. JSON files are basically text files that let your game communicate with Inno servers so that you can see things happening in real time. These files also contain all the information about what your city is producing and when it will be ready, all the boosts you have, the contents of your inventory, and, importantly for us, it tells the game how to display the province artwork on top of the map background. Since most of the continent map files aren't loaded onto your computer until you actually attempt to go to the map, hence the loading time when you click on the continent map, to see these you'll have to, keeping the developer tools open, navigate to the Progressive Era map. Once there, type Progressive Era into the filter bar at the top left of the network page. This should leave you with 5 files, which are the ones I'll be examining today. I'll also link the files in the description through a paste bin link that will take you directly to them on Inno's server. The first one is the map background, the second contains the clouds for the map, the third is a JSON file containing data about the clouds, the fourth contains the province overlays, and the fifth is a JSON file containing data about the overlays. The first clue that we have that the Progressive Era map had a bonus quest line comes from the third file with the information about the clouds. In the cloud files, Inno calls each cloud a frame, and as you can see there are 2 options here. The first is called Mist PE Normal, and many ages have this same style of naming. This relates to the clouds that can cover the map before you've scouted the first province of that age. However, in the Progressive Era cloud file, there's another frame named Mist PE Bonus. All the extra numbers contained inside of this heading relate to the location of the cloud's image in this cloud file and how it fits on top of the map. When we follow these, the cloud this relates to is this one, which covers up the hidden progressive era bonus provinces. Also, going back and checking other maps' cloud JSON files, we find that the only other ages with bonus clouds are the ones with bonus quest lines, namely the early Middle Ages, late Middle Ages, and Industrial Age. In all other cases, the clouds that cover up the extra provinces are just there for looks and are not actually described as being bonus content. The second clue towards a progressive era bonus quest line are the extra province overlays in the progressive era files. They manage to cover all the extra provinces on the map. I'm currently referring to these provinces by their province IDs. Each province has its own ID based on which province it is and which map it's on. The first two numbers are its map, so the old ages are 00, industrial age is 01, and progressive era is 02, etc. The numbers increase anytime there's a new map, so each Oceanic Future map has its own number, for example. The second two numbers are the province number in about the order that they appear on the map, starting with 01. Also, the ships to different maps are referred to as the first province of each age's map, starting with an age abbreviation followed by the map number and 00. Interestingly, the future is abbreviated as FUT, Tomorrow Era as TOM, and Bronze Age as BE. Anyways, the bonus provinces for the progressive era are referred to as provinces 0211 through 0220. Meet the updated progressive era map. If this doesn't suit your tastes, I also tried to map the provinces to nearby countries as best as possible, which you can see here. However, this is where the trail ends. There are no other references to these provinces or a bonus quest line anywhere else in the files that I can find. In the main campaign map JSON file, which is over 480 pages long and contains the information that tells the game which provinces are connected to others in which ways, what they offer as rewards, how long they take to scout, etc., has no mention of these at all, so there is no way to know what their actual names might have been, nor any text about these provinces. However, I think there's a chance that at least 3 of these provinces might have offered some sort of special reward, either diamonds or maybe a goods deposit. Some of the provinces had an extra attribute of true appended to them, and these seem to correspond with provinces offering good deposits or diamonds on other maps. However, this doesn't always seem to line up, and I'm not sure the true meaning of this tag. I'm also not able to see if there are any quests relating to these provinces in the game, as the only way that I know to see quest data is on the quests that you already have in your quests tab, and there's no way to access the full list of all the quests. There should be a way to ping the game server to get a certain quest back, but I don't know enough to be able to do that yet. This whole topic makes me wonder though, what would a progressive era bonus quest line look like? My guess would be one relating to the bonus provinces getting involved in the larger war across the progressive era continent, and you freeing them and aiding those provinces in rebuilding their autonomy. However, without a developer weighing in on this, I don't know if we'll ever get a true answer as to what actually happened to the progressive era bonus quest line. This leaves us with more questions than answers. For example, why didn't the quest line make it into the final release of the game? I tend towards believing that the bonus quest line was planned to launch, but was pulled at the last second. In the progressive era announcement, the age is described as having a brutal war that spans the entire continent, and yet not the entire continent is able to be conquered, but the bonus provinces let you do that. I also wonder why nearly 10 years after the progressive era was released and the game moved on to new ages, why the bonus provinces are still in the game files. You'd think that by now they'd have been removed and the files would be updated to be that much smaller. I guess we'll never know. Personally, I'd love to see some attention given to these bonus areas, adding extra content to not just the progressive era, but also subsequent ages that have extra space on their maps. Obviously, it may not be feasible, but it would be really nice to have, even if the bonus content only started in its space ages. Currently, with ages releasing about once per year, it would be cool for there to be a mid-cycle release of a bonus area for each age, maybe even working with the colonies to improve them somehow. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the Lost Progressive Era bonus quest line. If you have any ideas on what might have happened, or what you think the quest line might have been about, please let me know in a comment down below. If you'd like to see more technical content, please leave a like, and if you learned something, I'd appreciate you subscribing. See you next time.